What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Magic Hour. I'm your host, MagicLeb, aka MagicLeb. Please feel free to follow me on my Instagram at Fame Film Agency and click the subscribe button on my Instagram at MagicLeb. Today, please welcome London-based comedian out here in Adelaide doing a PowerPoint type based show called Anthony Heston versus the World, a nerd's guide to life, love, and fighting the world. Welcome, Mr. Anthony Heston.
Thank you for having me on Magic.
Yeah, anytime.
It's very exciting to be here. With a name like Magic, I kind of like half expected I'd turn up and you'd have like a tiger in a cage.
Well, I'm glad you said tiger and you didn't go for the stereotypical animal like camel. So it's all good.
No, the camel is just over there already.
I like them because they spit on people I don't like.
Yeah,
nice. It's very refreshing to have somebody from London here. Now that I'm speaking to you with that nice English accent, I feel like the episode has stepped up a notch going internationally. It sounds more intelligent.
Exactly. You're gonna be eligible for the BAFTAs.
Well, there you go.
After this,
now it just feels like something different. It feels like I feel like I've accomplished something now. All I need now is a very thick accent from somebody from Kenya. All right, to make it more diverse. And then everything will be great.
Yeah, you have chosen like the whitest of the white guys in Adelaide right now. You know what I mean? The British, we're pretty white.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been living in Australia most of my life, and it's very white here. I actually took a 16-year hiatus in the Gulf, and when I came back after not being here for 16 years, I saw how non-white Australia got with all this immigration, and I felt like, wow. I feel like I haven't even left Bahrain. It just feels good again, I'm seeing Arabs with the burqa. It's great, I'm seeing Asians everywhere, dark people. I never felt more safe in Australia than my whole life than I did when I first grew up here in the 80s.
That's so interesting. It's my first time in Australia, actually.
Yeah, I know that. So how do you find it so far?
So white. Oh my god! Because I grew up in London, right, and like London's like super diverse, and there's people from all over the world. I come here, and it's
Really?
It's
not as diverse as it is in England?
No, as far as I can tell, no.
But we have a large Asian community, Indian community, Arab community here in Australia. Or are you just?
Do you know
where in Adelaide are you hanging out?
Where am I? I'm hanging out in a north suburb called a name I've forgotten. Smithfield is the train station I go to, and then I'm like a 10-minute drive.
Okay.
From Smithfield. I'll be honest, I don't really know where I am.
No,
I did 13 shows last week. I just kind of go where there are audiences and just figure it out.
If a white guy from London is calling this a very white place, then you know he's white. Right. Well, it's all right when it's all white. All right. Well, that's a very interesting perspective. I mean, when you live here, you don't really notice anymore. It's just like you just blend in. You just, you just don't pay attention as well as much as you once used to. Now, you've been here now for 6 weeks?
So I've been in Australia for, a little over 6 weeks. So I did 4 weeks in Perth at the Perth Fringe.
Yeah.
I did a split bill comedy show out there, and I started my solo show run out there as well. And then I did a week in Sydney, but that was mostly just a holiday, actually, just to kind of see what was happening there. Get the picture with the Opera House, all of that.
Yeah.
There's lines on the Opera House.
I have no idea.
Have you seen it?
No, the thing is, I've been in this country. I was raised here, lived most of my life here. I've only been to Queensland, Melbourne, and Adelaide. One time in Darwin.
Conscious choice?
But I've never been to. I've only been to Sydney Airport. Never been. I've never been to Perth.
Never been to Perth.
No, never seen Alice Springs, the Outback. Never. I mean, I should. Living here, I should probably take advantage of it because there are so many people from all over the world. I want to see the Big Rock. And I'm like, okay, being Lebanese, I'll tell you one thing. The last thing I want to see is a rock because we're so sick and tired of picking them up and throwing them. I don't want to see a gigantic one, that would be pretty good to throw. I know it's a very typical thing for me to say, but rocks don't do it for us. We're mountain people. Mm-hmm. We like mountains. Yeah. If there's a famous mountain here in Australia, we'll go see that mountain, because we just love mountains.
Like getting up to high ground.
Pretty
much. See everything about you.
Because Lebanon is a country of mountains.
Yeah. My best friend at school was Lebanese.
Yeah, so it's like one mountain after the next. It's just like it's as far as the eye can see, all you see is mountains. after you leave Beirut, obviously the city, which is down, right? Because when you want to go back home, you're driving up a freaking mountain just to get back home. And all you see are mountains. And they're gorgeous looking, beautiful mountains.
Yeah, I love Lebanese food, man.
Oh,
it's so good. My best friend's dad used to run like several Lebanese restaurants, like when we were growing up, and say like we just had like tabbouleh like all the time. I just love the food.
Oh no, Lebanese food is awesome, man. You know, I mean, I'm very surprised because of all those horrible things that media shows us. Your teeth are perfect.
Really?
For a British person?
Do you know what?
You know, they're not as British as I thought they were going to be. You know what I mean? You don't have that massive overbite.
No, that's true. I don't look entirely inbred. Yeah. You know.
Okay, so it's inbred.
But that's very kind of you.
You're most welcome.
That's quite nice. I'm a little bit self-conscious about this because the top ones are okay, but like the bottom ones are still a bit. Yeah. You know, it does look like I've been punched by a rugby player.
Okay, because like I was always wondering why is it that the British have this stereotype that you know they don't have good teeth. I mean, they even mentioned that in Austin Powers, the first one. Yes, I get it. I have bad teeth. Is it because the dental clinic are not well funded, or are British just born that way?
Do you know what? I think it's just that, like, because everybody in Britain has bad teeth, you kind of don't need to fix it.
Okay.
Whereas you go over to America and they spend so much money on their teeth that it's like if your teeth aren't perfect, you look kind of weird, right? But we're just in Britain. We just fuck about with our teeth. Like they're bad, but they're bad for everyone, and so no one kind of worries about it.
This is how awesome the British are. Okay, I'm going to explain. Even if you have horrendous looking teeth, you can still pick up the hottest freaking chicks. Something about the accent. I've seen it. It's just something about the accent that drives these women crazy. You know, it's like, I mean, you can talk like one of those people that constantly visit bars, you know, and to the ears of a non-Brit person, they'll sound, you know, to them, you sound like the Duke.
Yeah, this is my first time in Australia. This is the first time in my life I feel exotic.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I'm a rare animal out here. Yeah, so that's quite fun.
During your time here, has not one Australian called you a pom?
Oh no, I've been called a pom a lot.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah,
most often by other poms.
Oh, okay, but not by an Aussie.
I'm sure there have been some Aussies as well.
Yeah, there has to have been.
Perth in particular had loads of Brits. So yeah, it was. That was a thing.
Well, Australia is a country that flourished from murderers, rapists, thieves, and whores that were sent here by the British. And
you're all a bit convict.
Yeah, you know. I mean, I'm a different breed because I ain't white. But the thing is, criminals made this country.
Yeah,
and it flourished.
This is like Gotham City if like the experiment went right. Right? Like the Joker like made it all work.
So if a bunch of criminals got together and hooray for Australia, maybe Trump isn't the worst thing in the world.
I'm not sure how you got there.
Maybe. I said maybe. I said maybe. But the thing is, he's one of those criminals that wants to take all the credit. I mean, at least these criminals, they shared the credit, which is probably why it became something. Yeah, America calls themselves united, but I don't think there's anything united about them at this point. You know, I think they should get rid of it. Just say America.
Yeah, so you're kind of advocating like a Robin Hood style thievery.
Because like when you say united, you're basically speaking for every person in that place. And not everybody there is feeling the same way.
No, that's the sense I get.
You know, so to say united, you know, it's like I speak for everybody, and if they say different, they're going to jail. Sure, you know. Yeah. But anyway, I don't want to talk about the politics part. Now, so what's the comedy scene like in London as opposed to how it is here?
I'd say it's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
In London, there's a lot of comedians. There's a lot of nights. There's a lot of opportunity for stage time. There's a lot of really established clubs. So it's a very good scene for kind of coming up and getting better. And seeing really good people, you know, I think that, you know, Louis C.K. was recently doing shows in London. Everyone comes to London. So you don't, you know, no kind of international comics come to Europe and don't drop by London.
Oh, of course not. London's like the place to be.
So it's great in that sense. It is, you know, when you're new, it's hard. because when there's so much competition. The bookers have so many different kind of comedians they can book and get on their shows. So it's like to break into paid work. Yeah, that's quite tough in London, but it's good because it kind of it makes you figure out how to be unique and how to be different and how to bring something else to the scene. And you can gig a lot, but yeah, the financial side of it is much harder.
I think it's that way in almost everywhere nowadays. But I think places like London, where if the comedy community is very popular there, and there will definitely be its challenges because like you don't have to win the crowd over, you have to win the professionals over.
Yeah,
and like you can make a crowd laugh, but if you can make a comedian laugh, especially one of those professional ones, if you can make them laugh, then that I think I got something. Dave Chappelle, when he was in The Nutty Professor, he played that. Have you seen The Nutty Professor?
I haven't.
That's okay. He plays this obnoxious comedian, where he makes fun of people in the crowd. And Eddie Murphy, being the playing the fat guy, he was making fun of how fat he was. And a lot of the stuff that Dave Chappelle was saying was off script. It wasn't written. He just said what he had to say, and Eddie Murphy couldn't stop laughing. They had to cut several times for Eddie Murphy to stop laughing. And Dave Chappelle said, like, when I got Eddie Murphy laughing, I did the right thing.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, if you can make Eddie laugh, then my God, you're definitely in the right business.
Yeah, that's
Now, in London, are they lenient to first timers, or are they going to make these first timers experience hell if they don't bring in the comedy?
Like I think it, like any scene, I think it depends where you go. So there are definitely certain kind of institutions in London where if you're a brand new comic, I'd say like definitely go there. Like places like Comedy Virgins in London, like anybody who's starting out there, like just go there, because the thing is you're bad at the start. Like no matter how good you think you are, like you're not. You're wrong. And in a few years' time, you'll realize that. But like, you just kind of you gotta I got a good piece of advice very early on when I started, which is your first 2 years in comedy is just you shedding skin.
Shedding skin.
You're just shedding skin. So just go up there, do what you're doing, try out loads of different stuff. But it's going to take you a bit of time to like hone your voice and stuff. So like find those rooms that are a little bit friendlier, that are a little bit more lenient, because there are plenty of rooms that aren't.
Yeah,
there's plenty of rooms that aren't, and you're going to get used to dying.
Okay, that's cool. See, we don't have that option here. I mean, we have a few clubs here in Adelaide, but everybody's just so supportive. Even when you suck, if they were the ones that no one's going to boo you, no one's going to say,
"Oh, I've been booed off."
Yeah, but here they don't boo, and which is surprising because if this was the 1983 Australia, they'll be booing the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, everybody got so respectable. And a lot of and polite, which is fine. I think it's great. I think it's great. But at the same time, I feel like acting this way is like giving everybody the trophy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right?
mollycoddling.
You know what I mean? It's like it's okay to be blunt sometimes. It can actually be beneficial.
Yeah.
To some. I mean, for others, they'll probably just be depressed for the next 6 months and then they get out of it. But it's just like here, I've never seen anybody get booed. I've had a bad night where I didn't get as many laughs, but I didn't get booed. I mean, I would rather than just say, "Oh, you guys suck." At least I know what I'm doing wrong because. But I don't understand why. I mean, as a comedian, as a person, I don't want to sound egotistical. Oh, the crowd sucked.
Yeah.
Because maybe they didn't. Because your joke should work for the majority. Because the same bit that I did that this crowd didn't like was the same bit I did in many clubs where it took off. It went amazing. So I don't know if it was a crowd thing or if it was an age thing or whatever. But anyway, I would rather have them just said, "Get the fuck off the stage," than let me just sit there, stand there, do my whole thing, not getting the responses that I want. And like, it just felt weird. It wasn't a tough crowd. It was a weird crowd, I mean, but I would wanted this weird crowd to be tough and just say what you really is on your mind, because I'm feeling like an asshole just standing here and not getting what I was expecting to get.
Yeah. Well, I think the onus is on the comedian, you know what I mean? Like you've got to work that crowd. Yeah. I had a gig out here that was bad. Like
in Australia or in Adelaide?
Yeah, in Adelaide.
Okay.
In Adelaide. And it was bad. And 3 minutes in, I could tell, oh, they're not enjoying this. And
where did you perform?
It was a gong show, and I was the feature act opening up the show. And you know, gong shows are notoriously, they're sort of set up where the audience are basically told like be assholes.
Yeah. So if do they have to hold up the plates or something to make
exactly?
Okay,
and I was the feature act, right? I was just there to just tell them some jokes, warm them up, that sort of thing.
Okay, so you weren't part of the competition.
I wasn't part of the competition.
Yeah.
And I go on, and within 3 minutes, I can be like, I have not got this crowd, and I just look over at the MC and I go, Chaitan. Yeah, I've lost them pretty badly, and you know, and that's the point at which I've acknowledged the truth of the situation.
Okay,
big laugh. I'm just doubling down on the fact that I've lost them really badly, and then I get them back. But I think as a comedian, I don't know, different comedians have different philosophies on this, but mine is like I'm there to entertain that group of people in that particular moment in time. If the material's not working, throw the material away. You know, find other ways of like finding the fun.
Okay.
And that gig went really well in the end. The moment you acknowledge the truth of a situation, you finally have a connection between you and the audience, and then they're like, okay. we like you now.
All right, cool. So the Chaitan Singh is still running that.
He is.
Yeah. Cool. Are there going to be more? Is there going to be two more?
I think they're done with gong shows for this year.
Okay, they're done.
They've got a load of other shows.
All right, cool. Now, during your time in comedy, especially in London, were you ever fortunate enough to have opened for a comedian, a popular comedian, or introduced a popular comedian?
I think the biggest kind of gig I had was there's a fairly well-known comedian in the UK called Mark Silcox, who has like he plays a character called Uncle Shady in a BBC sitcom called Man Like No Bean, and I got to be a part of his last show. So he's doing shows around in Melbourne and in other places in Australia soon. But I got to be like his sort of tech support who has a breakdown in the middle of the show halfway through. And so that was quite a fun little role to play. And, you know, I had to basically, you know, the sort of dynamic is, you know, Mark what works me really hard. And that's why I end up having this breakdown like 30 minutes into the show. And he like plays off that. And that was a pretty fun thing to do. I got to do that at the Aberystwyth.
Did that fool the audience? Or do they know it's part of the act?
Do you know what? I think, so Mark is like famously like an anti-comedian.
Okay.
So it's one of those acts where you don't know if it's comedy or it's not. And so the audience are constantly guessing like what's happening. Like the show we opened in Aberystwyth, like Mark had his laptop and he was trying to get the slides to work, but they wouldn't. And it turned out it's because his laptop wasn't connected to the internet. And the audience came up to us after the show and was like, oh, they're not connecting to the internet thing at the start of the show. That was so great. That was so funny. No, that was just a genuine mistake.
Oh,
like,
wow.
That wasn't like a planned feature. So it's like the genius of Mark's act is that like he can turn all of those moments into just like so much entertainment to the crowd. And he's got such a brilliant persona that he can kind of play it in really, really fun ways. But yeah, Mark Silcox, check him out. He's got loads of stuff online.
Silcox?
Silcox.
How do you spell that?
Silcox.
Okay, X. Okay, I'll definitely look him up.
Yeah.
Now, at what point in your life did you say to yourself, "I want to do comedy"?
I think there was a point in my mid-20s where I was just really quite like bored of life, and I just I was working this like job in government. It was not quite floating my boat, and I was like, I want to do something more performative. And I kind of, I looked at stand-up, but then I was like, oh shit, I'm actually going to have to write the material if I do that. And then I looked at acting and I was like, well, that seems a bit kind of wanky. I'm not sure I want to do that. And then I came across improv, and improv was like, oh, you get to like perform, but you don't have to prepare, and you do it with other. And I was like, that sounds like a good medium. Let me start there. And so I started out with improv. I did improv for like a year. And then after doing that for quite a while, I was like, I think I'm ready to do stand-up.
Okay.
I think I'm comfortable enough on stage and I'm good enough at kind of finding the humor and stuff that it's like, yeah, I'm ready to take the leap now.
I guess improv is a good way to gain some confidence because like puts you on the spot. You got to be quick on with your mind to think of.
I'm still using all of those improv skills all the time.
No, I think obviously, yeah,
because you just get really good at like reading audiences and kind of sensing like what they need and how to get to the funny. I really rate improv.
Yeah, no, I think it's terrific. Like even if you got like a material all memorized, there's a different vibe in any different clubs you go to,
sure.
And you can always improv, even though you can always go off script.
And those are often the most memorable and fun bits of the show for an audience. So I'm like quite a big advocate of doing that. And like for me, that's when I feel like most alive on stage. Okay. When it's like I know I don't have the thing in my back pocket. I'm having to find it right then and there.
All right.
So I still kind of live for those moments.
Sweet. So before I ask you about your comedy style, who's your favorite comedian, or do you have any comedians that inspired you?
I mean, like one of the things I love about comedy is that there are just so many different comedians that can make me laugh in so many different ways. But I think like my all-time favorite comedian will always be Bo Burnham.
Bo Burnham,
musical comedian. Every special he puts out is different and clever, and brilliant kind of observations on society and what's happening, and brilliant self-awareness, and just never fails to make me laugh. And so yeah, he's my all-time hero. Even though I never do any musical comedy myself. Okay.
Now, let me talk to you about your special. Now, your special known as Anthony Heston versus the World. A Nerd's Guide to Life, Love, and Fighting the World. Now, the comedy style that I read about you, it's called that it's nerdy, dorky humor. Do you use an actual PowerPoint?
I do. I have over 200 slides.
Oh wow!
For the whole 45-minute show.
And when is your show playing?
It's playing in Adelaide on the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th of March.
Yep.
It's on at 10 p.m. across all of those dates, and it's at Ayres House.
Ayres?
Which is Ayres House, Ayers.
Okay.
And it's a short-minute walk from Gluttony, basically. So it's right in that kind of corner of Adelaide.
You guys heard it here first. Check out Anthony Heston's versus the World. All right? I mean, if you like Scott Pilgrim, then I'm sure you're gonna like Anthony Heston.
You've got it. Yes. You've got it. Yes. Finally.
All right. So check out the friggin' show. It's gonna be awesome, and enjoy. If you don't like the jokes, I'm sure you'll love the accent. All right.
Something for everyone.
Exactly. Now, did you kind of follow the same kind of inspiration or guidelines from Scott Pilgrim? Is it that kind of dorky?
So the storyline is nothing
like it at all.
Nothing like Scott Pilgrim at all.
Of course.
I just but I kind of felt like the kind of comedy I'm doing, it's very nerdy, it's very like trickstery. There's a lot of kind of tech stuff in it as well. And I just felt like, the kind of people who will like my kind of comedy, the kind of people who will like that film.
Okay.
There's kind of an overlap.
So when you have your PowerPoint presentation, is it like you're giving a lecture in a way, or are you just telling a story?
Do you know what? It actually just kind of depends on the venue that I have. Everywhere I go in the world, I travel with my projector. So like I'm setting up my projector every single time. At the moment, for the room that I've got in Adelaide, like I'm putting up a sheet, and so I'm basically stood next to this massive screen, and then it's just jokes. It's just jokes, and it's like a running theme of the show is the fact that I've kind of worked out that I'm one of these people who is always trying to beat the world, is always trying to outsmart other people and other situations, and sometimes that works for me and sometimes that does not work for me at all, and that's kind of where the concept came from. I don't want to spoil the show too much, but it's a lot of like quite just fast-paced, like nerdy fun basically, but with a little bit of like introspection and like where has that come from.
Awesome. This show that you have versus the World, is it based on your upbringing, your life? Do you bring Anthony to the show, or are you like an alternate ego type person?
No, it's very much me.
Yeah,
it's very much me. I think I think I started writing my show in the way that most comics start writing a show, which is I just had bits. I just had different bits that just make me laugh and kind of really kind of captured my sense of humor and like the way I usually get audiences laughing. And then the more and more of those bits I I had, the more I started to sort of see the connection here of like, oh, like on a kind of deeper psychological level, what is actually happening. And I have this bit in the show where like I talk about like how one of the things I kind of realized writing this is that like there are these moments in kind of all of our lives that like go on to define who we become as people. And I've got this this amazing picture of when I was 4 years old, just me and my 2-year-old sister at the time, and I've managed to place a banana peel on her head, and she can't see the banana peel. She's just in her own little world, and I'm just there like laughing behind her. And this moment, like to me, it was so funny to my mum that like instead of like telling me off or like removing the banana peel from my sister's head, she took this photo of me, right? And it was in that moment I realized like if I was funny enough, like I could get away with anything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right? And that's just like how my brain works. Like I just love getting the better of other people. Like that's just so fun for me.
So
like,
would you enjoy roast comedy?
I haven't done loads of roast stuff myself, but like in my group of friends, like we're constantly roasting each other. Like it is just fun. But even more than that, just like pranks. Like
pranks, yeah.
I've got this isn't in the show, but like I had my best mate who I lived with for 3 years. Like we had a long history of pranking each other, and at one point I managed to. He was coming back from a holiday, and he pranked me pretty badly. This isn't going to make me look good, but I went for a phase of like forgetting to like close the front door in our flat, which was like a genuine problem. Like, and I'm like I put my hands up. That was bad. But he, whilst he was on holiday, managed to organise for a few of our mates to completely like ransack the flat, and I turn up and I'm like, oh shit, I've caused this. You know what I mean? It's my fault that like all of this is like so bad. And then I realised like, oh wait, hang on. He's like, they've left like condoms filled with like soap on the floor and messages being like, you're the father. And it's like, well, that doesn't apply here. And then I was like, okay, this is clearly a prank. Yeah. And so to get him back, I filled up 338 pint cups of water and just laid them around his bed, so that he's just done this like 24-hour drive back from Poland. He's trying to get to bed immediately. He comes in and he just sees all of this water like covering his room. It took him like a good like hour and a half to clear up. So we like, I just love pranks.
Okay.
Like to me, that's just fun. And so I'm just trying to get that across.
I think you would enjoy Andy Kaufman's comedy. Have you heard of Andy Kaufman?
I have.
Yeah. His whole MO was making the crowd think, is this real or is this part of the act? Because a lot of people were fooled. And constantly fooled. They actually thought what was happening was actually happening. And that was his talent. That was his thing. He took it so far that he told the cameraman, when you film, I want it to look distorted so that people who are watching it from home will think there's something wrong with the television. And they were he fooled the world. He actually fooled people that were watching things live. They were hitting their TV. They, what's wrong with this picture? And they thought it was coming from him from the beginning. So he was just there to mess with people. And that was the genius of Kaufman, because he looked like this prissy type, well-respected person, which he is. But he's a master at fucking with your mind. And he delivered that so bloody well.
Yeah, that's fun. That's really fun for me. Like Ruben Solo, I don't know if you know him, but it's a little bit like that. But I caught his show here recently. I think it was the last one. But he's a really fun comic that is always like playing with like the audience's perception of what's going on. And
that's what people enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, I think, and it's it's kind of a little bit different to, more traditional forms of stand-up.
Oh, absolutely.
But I love seeing, it's why I love Bo Burnham. I love seeing things on stage that I've never even imagined. That's just fun for me. So, I'm trying to I'm trying to give audiences that feeling when they come to see me of like, oh, I never thought a comic would do that on stage.
Cool. Do you remember your first ever stand-up?
Yes, I do, actually.
Yeah? What was that experience like?
So nice and so unbelievably unrealistic and not at all what the stand-up circuit was like after. So my first ever gig So this is one of the great things about London is you've got lots of different comedy clubs, and some of those comedy clubs put on like courses where you can like do a course in a 6-week course in stand up, and then they guarantee like a showcase gig at the end of it, and everyone invites all of their mates along, and it's like the nicest, most supportive gig you can ever do. And then you leave that thinking, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this, and then you go and do a real gig and you die on your ass, and you're like, maybe not, right?
Oh, wow.
So the first gig was super, super nice. The second one was much harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're on stage, do you ever know within the first 10 seconds if a crowd is going to be difficult or I've got this in the bag?
No. And I would warn against like trying to like sort of like pigeonhole a crowd too early, because a crowd that is tough early on might rally once you kind of just find a way of connecting with them. Mm-hmm. So I think you just have to go and play it.
Yeah.
And I don't mind a tough crowd. Mm. I don't mind a tough crowd. So long as they're listening, I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The moment they're chatting amongst themselves is the moment you're like,
this
isn't really.
You're not interesting enough for them to shut the hell up.
Yeah. That's a very bad sign. If you do that, then maybe there's a case for getting off stage. But if they're listening, that's good.
So, what's harder for you here, Anthony? Writing jokes or performing them?
Oh, such a challenging question. I mean, I think I'm kind of in a nice place with the show at the moment, where I kind of know what the theme of the show is, and so I have a good sense of like, oh, what are the bits that I need to add to it. So I've kind of hit quite a good groove with writing, and I'm kind of I'm pretty happy with what I've produced. Performing it can be tough. You know, if I've got a room full of nerds, like I've been doing like a PowerPoint show out here called Death by PowerPoint. And every time I get up in front of that room of people, they like absolutely love my stuff, because it's the perfect audience for the kind of comedy that I'm doing.
Death by PowerPoint, I like that.
I don't always get that. Sometimes I'm getting up there and it's just people who have just walked in from the bar and they kind of have no idea what the show's about, and that's fair enough. I'm very happy to kind of perform. I feel very grateful when anybody comes. I think it's a privilege, but when you've got people who aren't necessarily expecting the kind of nerdy comedy, and it might not necessarily be their thing, then it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to have to work harder with these guys. I'm going to have to riff. I'm going to have to go off script and find ways of connecting with them. But that's fun for me as a performer. Like that's like the challenge of comedy is being able to make every audience laugh.
Absolutely.
But it is nice when you've got that predetermined audience of people that are just like, yeah, we're going to really enjoy what you're doing.
Sweet. Now, how long did it take you to find a routine that actually worked, to find a bit? Like, you know, you created this character. I mean, I know you are playing yourself, but how long did it take you to find that stride that you are comfortable in your comedy segments?
It's a great question. And this show's a very new show for me. So I only started writing the show, I'd say September last year. And like all the material is completely fresh. I'd say I was kind of writing it for about 3 months, and then it got its first kind of airing in Perth at the Perth Fringe or World Fringe. I think it took a few gigs to really kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, that you finally became confident that you own this particular theme. You own it now. You feel like it's you can take it anywhere you want to.
I mean, I don't think a comedian's work is ever done. You know what I mean?
No, of course not.
I think every show is a work in progress. I kind of had this realization when I was doing kind of started doing my own kind of longer stuff back in the UK last year, that it's like whether a gig goes well or a gig goes badly, like the implications are the same. You should just still keep working the material.
No, of course.
And making it better. Like you should never rest on your laurels and be like, this is done. So I think I'm still treating everything as like up for grabs in a way, and everything can be funnier.
Oh no, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
The reason why I asked this question is because like a lot of comedians, it takes them a while for them to figure out which process and which routine actually works. Not just the routine, but in the mannerisms of how they perform that routine.
For sure.
You know, I mean, you know, you got all different kinds of comedians. You got your loud comedians, you got your quiet comedians, you got your flamboyant comedians.
Yeah.
You got all these different types, right? Like, take Bobcat Goldthwait. You know who Bobcat is? The guy that in the Police Academy films. You know, the one that had this very iconic voice, like he's always screaming like that. Now, if anybody else was to do his routine in a normal way, it would not work at all. So Bill Burr, have you heard of Bill Burr?
Of course, I've heard of Bill Burr.
Now, he's been in comedy since the early 90s to mid 90s in comedy, but he didn't start getting famous until less than 10 years ago when he really found his stride. And he was working with great comedians. He was working with Chappelle. He was on the Chappelle show with Chappelle. He did other things. And Dave Chappelle said, don't stop what you're doing. You're going to get there. I see the potential. You're getting there, but you're going to get there very late. But you are on the right track. Now, some people get on the track and they get there within seconds. You know what I mean? They found their stride. They found that what it works. And he just told Bill, you're getting there. You're on the right road, but you're just getting there slowly. And it took Bill 20 years before he finally got the stardom that he was looking for. So I think everybody in their way is trying to find something that works.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
And like I definitely think I've kind of struck upon like something that kind of I enjoy doing and that audiences seem to enjoy me doing. But you know, I'm not famous.
Oh, no,
I think
no, no.
it's going to take time to build that audience, and that's part of what coming to Australia has been about. You know, kind of start getting my stuff in front of different audiences.
Yes, of course. I think that's a great way to go. So, what's your creative process like?
What's my creative process like? I do write a lot. Like I very much kind of sit and write. I like to free write on ideas, like and just kind of process. I you know, the bits are always about my life and kind of what is happening in my life and what I'm finding funny. But I will kind of to a lot of other people it would look like work. You know what I mean? And I'm not scared of that. And I'm a nerd. I'm not scared of homework. You know what I mean? I've been doing homework my whole life. So so I don't mind that. But like I like to, whatever my kind of, you know, let's call it the spot, right? The thing that I think is funny. Like I'll sit down with that and I'll write out everything I can possibly think of that and write out jokes and then try to craft it into something that works as a routine, right? Because you might write 20 jokes on a topic, but you might have to throw 18 of those away because they don't quite work with the angle that you've got. Like it's like the more and more that I've been kind of working on a show, the more and more I've realized like, oh, you've got to have like a fairly consistent point of view on the world, and because it's got to feel coherent, it's got to feel like it's all coming from the same place. But like as a comedian, I'm sure you know you have like a million different like funny thoughts.
Yeah, of course.
But they're often funny in different ways, and that kind of doesn't quite work for like a whole show or a whole act. You know what I mean? Like I have pedo jokes in my show. I absolutely do, but they're very nerdy pedo jokes that kind of work in my voice, right? They're not just your kind of run of the mill.
Okay. Yeah. So it works with your character, your persona.
Exactly.
So like. This is a hard question for me to ask. Like, when did you realize that you were that you felt that you were a nerd?
I think I've always known that I was a nerd. I think I've always felt that I was a nerd. I never kind of shied away from that label. It wasn't until I started doing comedy that I realized like, oh, I'm actually like really uncool compared to the rest of these guys. Like I'm literally sat here like in a fleece with like thick glasses.
But isn't nerd today the new cool? I mean, isn't it turning it into that kind of thing?
I don't know. I still think nerds are getting put in bins most days.
Really?
So,
I don't know. Okay.
I mean, I think it depends who you ask, but like, well, you know, I do think, you know, Zuckerberg and people like that have helped us out a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can walk into a restaurant with a grubby hoodie and somebody might genuinely think, oh, he just like clearly runs like a tech startup.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys are the ones that are running the world.
That yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily love everything they're doing, but yeah, I do think like what it means to be a nerd has. Like, I do think we've had a bit of a glow up.
Yeah, okay, but what
years.
constitutes a nerd? I mean, is it because you're book smart? Because there are a lot of people who are book smart that don't have the nerdy quality.
I think I think it's book smart, but I think it's also like you're really passionate about your interests.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that's like most normal people have like a normal level of like passion for whatever the topic, you know, we're talking about. But nerds will like double down. Nerds will like get really, really into their one thing, and they'll know like loads of stuff.
Okay. So like, because a lot of people just have that, like for example, the Big Bang Theory. Like to the common eye, they're all a bunch of nerds.
Absolutely.
They love Dungeons and Dragons. They play vintage video games. These are nerdy activities. But at the same time, it's equally fun and cool. You know? I think non-nerds would enjoy doing nerd stuff.
Yes, and I've got some like very like alpha male-ish friends who like love D&D. You know what I mean? So I do think all of these things are sort of shifting and changing, but that's a great thing. Like I think if people get joy from stuff, then like go do it. You know?
I highly recommend, if you haven't seen it already, a 1980s film in the 80s, not knowing exactly which, Revenge of the Nerds. Have you heard of the movie called Revenge of the Nerds? Ooh, you have to watch Revenge of the Nerds. They made 2 of them. It was so funny they made a second one.
Yeah.
All right, and it's an 80s film. All right, and we enjoyed it. It was everything about that was great. I mean, I think it was the perfect guide to introduce us to the life of how nerds are and how they are perceived by people, how they are made fun of constantly, but how they also overcome, you know? Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, really download it, Revenge of the Nerds. You won't regret it. It's funny. And it's very nostalgic because it's very 80s.
Yeah, know? Well, I think, you know, different... I think, you know, when you're growing up and stuff, like you're always just trying to sort of find your kind of social status from somewhere, right? Like if you're like an athletic person, then you got all of that going for you. If you're a good looking person, you got all of that going for you. If you're a weak little nerd, you need to like get really fucking interesting.
You have to, they have to find their strength.
Exactly. And I say, yeah, like I like being a nerd and I've got a lot of time for nerds. But it is, it's a different upbringing to like, do nerds always hang out with other nerds, or do they have non-nerds hanging out in that group as well? Most of my friends are nerds. Okay. I mean, I can't speak for all of them, but I think we feel more comfortable in our, you know, around other nerdy people. You know, you feel more seen, right? Okay. You know how you got these bully type people that hang out together and they make fun of other people. Do nerds get together and make fun of others as well? No, in their own way. I think nerds get together and have arguments over really pedantic and small things. I think nerds are motivated by the fact that they really like to be right, and and that's like a really important thing. Like I have this thing in me that I just like. I love outsmarting people. I love tricking people. Okay. That's just so fun for me. I think that's like a really nerdy character. Because the thing is, if I try and outsmart the alpha male, he can just punch me in the face. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I have to be a little bit. This kind of comes up in my show, but like, that is like that's the dynamic that is going on there. I think. Well, Anthony, we have reached what I like to call the existential part of the podcast. I'm going to ask you a few existential type questions. We're going to get deep here, and being a Brit, I'm sure you know all about existentialism. Our neighbours, the French, came up with it. So. Yeah, okay, well, you know. That's right. That scene from Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby. Have you heard of that movie? The movie starring Will Ferrell, and he meets a Frenchman because he's a race car driver, and the Frenchman is a race car driver, and Will Ferrell is like this pro-American guy because we're in America, the greatest country on the planet. All right, and the Frenchman said like, what have you given the world besides George Bush, Cheerios, and the Thigh Master? Yeah. All right, and it goes Chinese food and whatever. He's making fun of it. All right, and he goes, what did you bring? We brought what did he say? He goes, we brought to you liberty, existentialism, and the blowjob. Yeah. You know? I think it was liberty. I'm not sure if that was that, but those two were. Yeah. So I'm not going to give you a blowjob, but we are definitely going to do the existential part. Fair enough. Okay. Now,
For you, is comedy a way of dealing with chaos or distracting people from it?
I think it's my way of navigating the world.
Yeah.
I love to laugh. I love to make other people laugh. I think that's an amazing feeling, and I just want to spread that. And it gives me an outlet through which I can kind of process the world and do all of that.
Democracy, not liberty. It was democracy, existential, and then blowjob. That's right. Okay, just for those Ricky Bobby fans of that movie. Okay, cool. Now, great answer, by the way. Do you, as a comedian, create a stage persona to protect your real self?
I think I don't think I have like a stage persona that is sort of like massively different from who I am as a person. It's definitely exaggerated,
right? Of course.
So my stage persona is way more scared of the fact that like someone in the audience is going to come and beat him up than I am in real life. Like I've never been in a fight. I'm quite good at like weaseling my way out of things.
Mm-hmm.
So
they say the bigger man is smart enough to walk away.
Oh, I'm very good at walking away. I'm very happy to be like, no, I'm a little bitch.
But the thing is it a bigger man to walk away because you're terrified, not wanting to get an ass whooping, or is it a bigger man knowing you can take this person but choosing the opportunity not to do it?
That's not a question I've ever considered because I'm not sure I could ever take.
I'm not trying to get extension on that part, but since we brought it up, it really makes you think because because I used to hear that a lot. Yeah, you walked away. That's very brave of you. And I used to think that's not brave. That's very cowardly.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the concept of what it means to be brave and what it means to be a coward, but sometimes you don't want to walk away from the fight. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm the person that would never want to get into a fight. I don't ever want to get into a fight. I got into a fight, all right, and I broke my wrist in the process. 6 weeks before I had to give an opening demonstration for the 2000 Olympics Taekwondo tournament. I used to do Taekwondo. We're talking 35 years and 65 kilos ago. Right? I used to do Taekwondo, and I was really, really good at it. And I was chosen to give an opening demonstration. I was part of a team that was going to give an opening demonstration to introduce the Taekwondo event in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. And I got into a fight with some punk-ass asshole who I broke my wrist on his face.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk away from it because he was threatening my life. It was a threat. When you're in a situation, oh no, I can't walk away from it. I can't. I really can't. I can't say you're right, whatever. This guy was determined to do me physical harm. There was no way out of it. All I said was, just call the police. It's about to get bad. And my friends walked and called the police. So the fight lasted a good minute or two before the police came. But too late, I broke my wrist. There was situations that you just couldn't walk out of. And I keep asking myself, did I do the brave thing? Or did I do the stupid thing? I don't, you know what I mean?
I think it depends on the details of that particular case.
He pulled out a gigantic screwdriver from the car, wanted me to stab me with it.
Yeah.
So I knew.
It sounds like you didn't have much of an option.
I didn't. I couldn't. I could have ran, but that's the cowardly thing to do. I didn't want to run. I did not want to run. I didn't want that reputation on me saying this guy ran away. This guy's a second-degree black belt and he ran away. You know what I mean? That was that would destroy my reputation completely.
Oh, that's so funny.
People who take my class, because I used to teach Taekwondo too. So people who took my class, if they would know that I did that, I mean, what example am I setting here?
Yeah, I see that. Whereas my reputation, insofar as I have one, is not built on the fact that I would ever throw a punch at anyone.
Yeah, I didn't. So
no one's kind of expecting that.
Yeah.
The closest I've ever been to being in a fight was I must have been about 19 years old. I go out with like my closest group of mates, and one of my mates gets in a kind of scuffle with this other guy in the nightclub, and they're both kind of like pushing each other in the nightclub, and this kind of continues in a few different rooms, but it doesn't sort of escalate. And then we get to outside the nightclub. We've just left. 3 of us have just left. And that guy and 6 of the largest guys I've ever seen in my life follow us out of that nightclub. And I'm like, oh Christ, I am so not ready for this. And the guy who my mate was kind of arguing with comes over, and he kind of confronts my mate, and he's like, you ready to fight? And my mate's like, I'm not gonna fight. That's stupid. And the guy goes, what's over there? And my mate looks back, and when he turns around, this guy just smacks him in the face, completely drops to the floor.
Oh, God.
And the 6 guys behind him just burst out laughing. There's this moment of release of like, oh, no, we don't have to fight anymore, because like he's been knocked to the ground in one thing. Like it was just, my mate was quite a small guy, so like it wasn't hard. And I was just so relieved that like, thank you so much, God, the universe, whatever, for making sure I don't have to, because it's your friend, right?
Yeah,
That's the point at which you have to throw yourself into the situation, if for no other reason to show that you are a good friend. Like that matters a lot to me. No. But I know that was going to be completely useless.
See, now, in this particular case, I can say that the person that punched your friend, who was obviously bigger, more domineering, that's a coward, because he hit somebody that, it's like hitting a child. Almost.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. Hitting somebody that's not going to give you any competition whatsoever. So that's a very cowardly thing to do. Yeah. Would he have reacted that way if he was to fight somebody that was his size or even bigger? You know, it makes you want to think.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So yeah, but you know that thing, if you pin somebody to a corner, you know, they either freeze or they're gonna do whatever they can for survival.
For sure, yeah.
You know, I mean, like, at the end, size doesn't matter. Your own survival does, and if you have to, you got to do what you can to get away, or just to do something to distract you, get away. I think everybody's human instinct has that. You know, like. But anyway, that's a different issue completely. We're getting completely off topic, because
we're going to end this podcast by having a fight.
By having a fist fight.
Here.
Round 1.
Yeah.
Fight. And we're going to do and we're going to do it the Street Fighter way as well. You know, I'll tell you about it later. I wrote a fantastic sketch using Street Fighter characters, but I can't get anybody to act in it. All right. Do you think the universe has a sense of humor, or are comedians just the universe apologizing for that existence?
There's a great Charlie Chaplin quote that, like, up close, life is tragedy, and in wide shot, it's a comedy. And I think, like, that's how I view it. So, you know, you can take a tragic situation, but it's once you zoom it out, that's where the comedy can come from. You know what I mean? And present, you know, the best comedians will often present really kind of tragic and sad things, but just in a way that makes them funny and makes us kind of laugh about this shared thing that we have, which is life. Like, that's kind of my take on it. I think as comedians, we're just writers. We're just presenting like the human experience in a particular way that makes people laugh. Because it's so ridiculous.
All right, and here's a deep question for you. I want your own interpretation. Anthony, what happens when we die?
I haven't got a clue. I haven't got the faintest idea. I assume nothing, but I don't know what that means. And I think anybody who has got a strong sense of what that means is lying or trying to sell you something. So I don't know, and I'm comfortable not knowing.
Okay, that's good. Sometimes it is best not to know.
Yeah.
Definitely, 100%. All right, that was cool. That was fun. Now, we're going to play a little game here. It's called Wrong Answers Only. I'm going to ask you, the game is pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to deliberately give me the wrong answer.
Cool.
Which is probably going to be hard for you, since you always like to be right.
Yes.
All right, so I had a guest on who claims she doesn't tell a lie.
Okay.
She can't lie. So this was very challenging for her too.
Right.
Okay. What's the best thing to do on a first date with a chick? Sorry, with a woman?
Have sex.
That's the best thing that you can do.
I think if you're having sex on the first date, that's gone very, very well. It's not an experience I've ever had, but if that happened, good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Okay. Which actor said the following famous line? Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
That was Harry Potter, of course.
Okay, Daniel Radcliffe.
That was Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes.
Yeah, famously how the first Harry Potter film ends.
Yeah, I think that's how the audition originally went.
Yeah, that's why you got the part.
where's the Philosopher's Stone? Talking to me.
You're talking to
Are
me.
you talking to me? And I have to do it with the British.
yeah. Are you talking to me, Governor? That would be fun.
Yeah. What's Arnold Schwarzenegger most famous for?
Saying the N-word.
Yes. Well, it is in his name.
Yeah.
You know, there was an interview with Muhammad Ali, and they were and Schwarzenegger was part of the interview. They were introducing him later, and he goes, "After this break, we're going to welcome Arnold Schwarzenegger." And then Ali turned to the interview. Oh, who? You know? Did you say Schwarzenegger? You know, and it's like no, and they had a huge laugh at it. And then when he got to meet the man, and but what an awkward moment that would have been, you know.
There's a French comic who's like touring around America who does a joke about how like he's been hanging out with all of these black guys, and it took him a while to realize why they were all calling him Monica. And the once you kind of realize like. Oh, they weren't saying Monica.
Oh, God.
Then it's... but he's got a really funny way of delivering it.
Oh, good. Final one.
I remember his name.
Who painted the Sistine Chapel?
I did.
Actually.
Yeah.
How very nerdy of you.
It took bloody ages.
Yeah.
I've hung up my paintbrush.
Did you were the fingers touching at first, or did they just kind of go limp?
They were limp, but I managed to get them hard later.
Sweet. Yeah. Who said podcast can't be fun?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Now, I'm gonna we've entered the conclusion part. I'm gonna ask you a series of these 10 questions. These 10 questions were made famous by a writer actor named James Lipton. Have you ever heard of James Lipton?
I haven't, but I did have a cup of Lipton tea this morning.
Okay,
I wonder if
he had an interview show called Inside the Actors Studio, and I cannot mention James Lipton without mentioning his favorite journalist, a Frenchman named Bernard Pivot. Now he would always ask these 10 questions at the end of all of his interviews, and I have adopted that theory, not theory,
yeah,
to honor the man.
Not copyright.
No. This is not copyright. People know because I mention him every time. I'm not.
Yeah,
owning
you've credited him quite a lot here.
Yeah, I have to. I'm not owning these questions.
Yeah.
Now, what is your favorite word?
Can I make it a phrase?
You can, I guess.
I quite like the phrase "well, actually."
All right, cool.
Because it's usually a nerd trying to like explain something to somebody who doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. What is your least favorite word?
My least, the word "interesting."
You don't like interesting?
No, because it's a cop-out word. I'm not the only person to have made this observation. But when somebody says, "Oh, that's interesting," it's a way of them acknowledging what the other person has said and responding to what the other person has said without giving any details about what they think or feel about it.
But can you tell if somebody's being genuinely interested?
No, because if somebody's genuinely interested, they'll tell you what they actually think.
Interesting.
Fuck you.
Okay, that is interesting. Okay, no.
Fuck you.
No, I actually do find that interesting, but not being condescending about saying how interesting it is.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I do find it. Okay, no,
but that's the thing. You see what I mean? You didn't stop at interesting.
Yeah,
you gave me a thought afterwards.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like, oh, you actually.
So it's only those that go, interesting. Yeah. That part where they're trying not to yawn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I actually really need the toilet. Now. You know what I mean? It's kind of
okay. Interesting stuff. I couldn't help it. I had to do it. What turns you on?
My girlfriend right now.
Okay, cool.
Quite effective.
All right. What turns you off?
My girlfriend. No, I'm kidding. What turns me off? Bad comedy, man.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Makes me want to like leave.
All right. Cool. Yeah. It makes sense. What is your favorite curse word?
I mean, fuck is quite a good one. It's quite universal. I do love the word cunt, and I love how much it's almost a term of endearment.
In Australia, it is.
Here,
it is.
Calling somebody a good little cunt. Is a great thing. So
can I get you cunt a drink?
Yeah,
you know? But England is kind of like that too, isn't it?
It is, but I think not for everyone.
Okay.
So some people see it as a really vulgar word that sort of shouldn't be used and should be used.
Hardly anybody sees it vulgar here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like cunt is equivalent to the Arabic habib. You know,
of course.
It's like saying mate. Right? Saying, hey, you doing, you fucking cunt? You know, yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
I was expecting you to say bollocks. But,
bollocks. Bollocks can also be good.
What sound or noise do you love?
I mean, laughter is usually, at the risk of being a bit generic. Like, the sound of a room of people laughing. I quite like a weird laugh. When you've got that one audience. My girlfriend's got a great laugh where she'll go, and it's just like that is the stupidest sound I've ever heard, and it brings me so much joy. It just makes every joke
I'm sure
funny.
It's very cute as well.
Yeah. It is.
Okay. What sound or noise do you hate?
What sound or noise do I hate? Like the sound of audiences chatting. Which actually is not, not to brag, not one that I hear very often, but it does happen occasionally.
Yes.
I fucking hate it. Like,
I once did a comedy show where I wanted to film myself, and I was sitting at my table, and I put the camera on my table. That's the camera I use, by the way. And I just said to the people who were hanging out with me, just make sure you press the record. If it turns off, just turn it back on. And they were chatting the whole time I was fucking on. Yeah. So I couldn't hear the audio from that camera. I heard them talking more than my set, and I was really pissed off. Yeah. Anyway, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I mean, I've always fancied acting a little bit.
Yeah.
I think. But I do think that, in a way, that is just the extension of the comedy.
I believe so. Acting classes actually help stand-up comedians in a massive way.
I believe that.
Yeah. What profession would you not like to do?
I mean, to be honest, like anything where I have to lift things and like use my body. I'm like quite a cerebral guy. I just like I'm like half Polish, right, on my mum's side, right, and like the Poles are like a very practical people. I have no practical skills because anytime anything was ever broken in our house, we had like 5 uncles that could come over and fix it in like 30 seconds. Okay. So I just learned none of it. Basically, I'm like one of the least practical people you'll ever meet. So anything like that, like, just stresses me out.
So construction would totally be out of the question.
Yeah, I like if I was holding a brick, you'd know it was for a bit. You know what I mean? No, it's like this guy's not building anything.
Okay. And finally, Anthony, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, Anthony Heston. Yeah, I've seen your stuff. That'd be pretty good.
I made you.
If he told me one of my jokes back to me, that'd be pretty good.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So this is the final question that's not part of the list. It's one I like to ask. What would you like people to take away from this podcast, having you here as a guest?
I mean, nothing. Just, I hope you're happy. I think there's, we're all trying to be happy in life, and I hope people kind of find their thing.
It's always the pursuit.
Exactly, and it is always the pursuit. You got to do stuff. You know what I mean? It's not a state. It's like it's a journey. So just whatever floats your boat. I mean, also if you follow me on Instagram at Anthony Heston Comedy, that helps me out. But yeah, like I don't know when I'm next going to be in Adelaide.
You got ahead of me because I was just about to mention your Instagram, but that's okay. We'll mention it twice in this, 3 times actually.
Interesting.
It is interesting stuff. Thanks for joining us in this episode of the Magic Hour. I've been your host, Magic and Dairy, aka MagicLeb. Again, follow me on my Instagram at Fame Film Agency, and click the subscribe button on my YouTube at Magic and Dairy. And for the love of all that is good and holy, follow Anthony Heston on his Instagram, which is right there. And be sure to catch his show performing tomorrow, the 13th and the 14th, correct?
Of March
2026.
And possibly a future Adelaide Fringe.
By the time this episode comes out, it would have been way overdue, but you will get the clip beforehand anyway.
Yeah, I'll try to be back in like 2 years.
That's half a World Cup wait. All right, and peace out.
I'm broke, bitch.